Hi, this is Chris again. When I was asked to give this speech, I was originally going to start by listing out all sorts of statistics that indicate that the education system is failing, that there's been a near constant high level of violence to children and by children for more than a decade, and that many blame video games as part of the cause. But my boyfriend pointed out that this particular argument has been going on for close to 50 years, and that most likely I would lose your attention even before I started talking about it, and that it definitely would give you the wrong impression as to what my message is in this speech. After thinking about it for a few minutes, I decided it was right, and decided that basically if my goal is to persuade you that the video games and other forms of play are an important part of learning, that I should be discussing something different. So I changed the concept of it and decided I was going to discuss the obstacles to how we learn and teach today, and that by pointing out just how digital our society has become, I can help you understand that there are better ways of doing it, how playing is a crucial part of learning in general, and that the educational benefits found in video games that are classified as something other than educational are just important as those that are deemed as educational. With all the debates, there's one thing that everybody does agree on, that there's something wrong with the education system. It just isn't working for our children anymore. Things that I am sure of personally myself is that the reason why it's working is not because the music, television, and video games are encouraging violence and bad attitudes. And it's not because people spend too much time doing things that they have fun doing. I recently found a series of videos that were on YouTube by a group called Extra Credit, and they do a look into basically what they believe were some of the things that are causing our school systems to fail. And I kind of agree with what they're saying. I thought I'd share them with you. First off, the school system is basically outdated, and it's based on an era where there was less information available overall. And that grading is designed to instill fear of failure. How so? Well, many children get punished for bad grades, yet not rewarded for good ones. And that in a classroom environment, anyone that does really good is the subject of jealousy and anger from those that aren't doing all that well, which basically causes competition rather than encouragement. On the homework end, they don't like doing homework. It keeps them from doing what they want to do. It points out where they go wrong, but does not help them learn what they need to do to get the correct answer. And then by the time the problem is identified through the homework, the opportunity to take the time to understand what they've missed just become lost because the class has moved on. So they fall further and further behind. It's used more as a grading tool rather than as a way to help learn a concept. And of course, there's the problem with the teacher-to-student ratio. There's too many students per teacher to allow for the teacher to spend any time with them. And the curriculum overall is based on the most common, which means the problem of people who are above the average or below the average are left out. The ones that are below fall behind and just keep on getting further behind. And those that are advanced get bored and basically aren't given any challenge to just give up. And the final thing that I see a problem with is the fact that once a child enters school, the general thought overall by society is that it becomes the teacher's responsibility to encourage learning and teach them what they need to know, not something that they should be doing during off hours or should be a family project. Let's face it, the kids in school now are a digital generation. In fact, we've become a digital society in general, and its influence is always going to grow. I mean, currently, 67% of households have at least one gaming system, 58% of the world population use smartphones, and 72% of households in the United States have computers. It's how the majority of people today play, communicate, relax, and learn. 97% of teens and young adults play video games. 36% of preschool children even play video games. And in fact, individuals spend more than 7 hours per day accessing digital media. This involves games, listening to music, texting, watching videos, etc. So what does this mean? Well, the average age of game players is now 30. What this means is that these people grew up playing video games, and they've been connected online to media since a young age. And they're now having children, which is passing on the same ideas and habits. This is not something that's going to go away. Rather than fighting it and saying it's the cause of all of our educational problems, we should embrace it and use it to make our education a better system. We need to remember that playing is nature's way to help us want to learn things. The thing is educational playing is not a new concept. We encourage young children to do it. We play peekaboo with them, we hang mobiles in their cribs, and we give them all sorts of crib toys to interact with and learn from. You go on to early learning and educational toys. I've given children leapfrogs. There's see and says, there's puzzles, there's Legos, and all sorts of other games that teach children how to play together, how to interact, how to build things, spatial concepts, etc. Then when they get in the classroom, there's classroom-based games. I've been involved in school. I've played trivia. I've played concentration. I've played more complex games like alternate reality games where they have to answer certain questions and do some research and go certain places, similar to like a scavenger hunt. And yes, recently, over the last decade or so, they started bringing computer-based educational games. These games are wonderful, but unfortunately, a lot of times they're used as kind of like a class. You have to take this. Some of the games that are actually kind of fun to play were ones like Carmen Sandiego. My kids loved that, and I didn't find it all that bad either. Now that I've mentioned the educational merits of video games several times, I thought I'd talk about them with you for a little bit. I recently read an article in Parents Magazine about a study that was done by Cheryl Olson in conjunction with Harvard Medical School that talked about how parent-approved video games can actually be good for children. Basically, there's several things that came out of that study. One of them being the problem-solving and creativity. Games like Bakugan, Zelda, these require planning, negotiation, and searching. It helps children learn to make decisions, develop strategies, and the body of characters a lot of these games allowed helps them develop self-esteem and gives them a way to express their personalities. Games that are frequently played by older children, such as Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Titan Quest, Assassin's Creed, and Civilizations, have been known to spark interest in history, geography, culture, mythology, and even science. What many people don't understand is that video games become a group concept, a group plaything. Kids join together to play it in real life inside their homes. They play it online, and they make friends online, and they discuss things online. Frequently, when these kids get together at school and other places, what they talk about are the video games. Overall, this fosters excellent teamwork. Another thing that has been discovered with the new generation of games, such as Wii, is that it encourages exercise. Games like Wii themselves actually, you do exercise. There's running games, and there's skiing games, and there's bowling games, archery, and many others. But also, many of the sports games like basketball and football, and even skateboards encourage the players to go out and try seeing what they saw in the video games out in real life, which gets them out of the house and is good for them. Many games are useful for teaching children logic and critical thinking. Tetris and Portal are just a few. And they have been known to help increase older students' test scores from 56% to 90% overall. There are many other ways that video games are good for children and people in general when it comes to being educated. They create an environment of healthy competitiveness. They develop leadership skills. Social and communicative skills are developed through teaching each other's. Hand-eye coordination, which is something a lot of people lack. Perseverance, the ability to actually continue through something no matter how frustrated they are with it. Being able to make decision-making, good decisions. And the increased brain activity. For an example, in relation to healthy competitiveness, not all people are good at sports. Through video games, they get a more even ground where everybody has a chance to be successful. Sports games like World of Warcraft, Pokemon, Marvel vs. Capcom, and even Tekken are good for this. On leadership skills, many games are done as groups where a single individual functions as a leader and leads them through various tasks. An example of ones that would use this would be like World of Warcraft. Social and communication skills. Again, like I said, there's the opportunity to be teaching each other. Many of these games have got challenges in it that no matter how much the person tries to work on it, they have a hard time. Usually it's a friend that walks them through the steps to be able to succeed. This increases the confidence and the communication skills of both individuals. Hand-eye coordination kind of speaks for itself. Personally, I have horrible hand-eye coordination. But through the use of video games, the younger generation has an easier time of it, which is a good thing. Perseverance. Ever watch a child or anybody play a video game? No matter how many times they fail at a certain part of it, they just keep on going at it until they get it, which actually increases their confidence and gives them a sense of satisfaction when they are successful. This is a necessary skill that we all need. Decision making. A lot of games you have to make choices on things. You have to choose which is the best way to do it. Or should I take option A or option B? Video games are good for teaching an individual the repercussions of their decisions and the possible successes and results of their decisions. Increased brain activity. These type of video games are quite popular with adults, actually. Games like Brain Age and Guitar Hero help improve brain activity and memory retention. As you can see, there are many things that a person can learn by playing video games. Some games give them skills and attitudes that will help them succeed for the rest of their lives. Other games can spark interest into concepts and subjects that they may not have had interest in before, while others will teach them skills and knowledge that will be helpful to them as part of their formal education and will build a desire in them to continue to learn and persevere. Mostly, by changing your overall view on the merits of video games, you can change on how we all view school and education. So in general, be part of the solution. Take the attitude that games help make learning fundamental.